Okay, so we're going to have a look at the AND function. The AND function is really useful if you have more than one value to check. And you need to make sure that they all return true. So, I'll just show you briefly here. Let's have a look at the AND. So, you can see how it's got logical 1, logical 2, and then it's got kind of going on and on and on. And that just means that you can use as many different values as you want. So, say we do a bit of logic 1 here. So we say, we're asking if this is equal to this, very much like we did with the if statements. Now it returns false because these two are not equal. What we can do as well is we can add another parameter. So we could also ask ourselves if these are also equal. And as you can see, what they're doing there is it's still returning false because none of these are equal to each other. You'll also see if I put a 5 in there, it will actually still show false. Now the reason behind that is because although one of these is true, that B3 and C3 are equal, A3 and B3 are not, so that's false. And what you have to do is you have to, on an AND statement, have every single one of these return true for it to actually return true overall. Okay, so what we're going to do from there is I'm just going to have a look at that. I'm going to pull this down one. So as you can see here, it's looking again. Can you see? It's asking if these are equal and if these are equal. And can you see they are both recognized as being equal? Once on an AND statement, everything is true. Once all the expressions are calculated and worked out, if they are all true, the AND returns a true overall. You can see when you go down, it just doesn't work if only one of them equates to true. Even if, say, I were to add another one to assess, say, this one and this one, as you can see, it's still false because when we go into here, into the function argument, you'll see that two of them are false and one of them is true. And in an AND statement, all things must be true to actually have it return true overall. Now, moving down to this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that one and then I'm going to change these to less thans. And having a look here, so it's asking, if you look carefully, is A7 less than B7? Is B7 less than C7? Again, if you want to check that, you'll see false, false. And that's true because 10 is greater than 5 and 5 is greater than 0. So, of course, they're definitely not less thans. And then we can roll these along. And as you can see, we've got this one here. We've got the kind of 10 and 10 and 10. Well, none of those numbers are less than each other. And over here, we've got 5, 10, and 5. So watch what happens if I do 0, 5, and 10. You can see that when I put that last 10 in, it returns to true overall. And that is because in these cells, 0 is definitely less than 5, 5 is definitely less than 10, and you can see they're both logical arguments returned true overall. And again, an AND has to have everything true to return an overall true. Moving down to our greater than, so I'll just swap these out. And as you can see here, this time it's asking the question, well, is this greater than this and is this greater than this? And as you can see, they are. Well, it's really easy to see that. They're both true. 10 is greater than 5, 5 is greater than 0, and it returns true overall. When I pull it down, have a look there, 10, that's all the same. It's never going to have resulted in a true because 10 is equal to. And again, it's just the same basic logic as we saw with things like the not statement. This time, I'm going to add an equals. And this time, as you can see, it's again saying true because 10 is greater than 5, 5 is greater than 0. Looking here, you're going to see on this one that this one equates to true because we're asking if it's greater than or equal to each time. And as you can see, 10 is equal to 10 and 10 is equal to 10. Going down one more, this one is false because although 10 is greater than 5, 5 is not greater than 10. You can see that it compares these two and they say it's false. And although one of the statements is true, it has to both be true to overall create a true. Moving on to our less than, just to round this off. And as you can see, well, you're getting it by now, obviously. You can see which ones return true and which ones false. If I were to change this to, say, a 6 and that one up to a 7, it would become true because 5 is less than 6, 6 is less than 7. In fact, if I put a 6 there, 6 is equal to 6, and this is less than or equal to. Okay, now what we can do, though, is we don't just have to stick to one particular type of expression. So you'll see here what I can actually do is I can have the greater than or equal to and equal to together, and I can assess those each. So I can ask myself, well, are A23 and B23 less than or equal to? And I can ask B23 and C23 if they are equal. And as you can see, it turns out false because in both occasions, 10 is greater than 5, and in this case 5 is not equal to 0. Pulling that down again, this is where it does actually work out because 10 is equal to or less than 10, and 10 is also equal to 10. Both are becoming true, and again it returns a true overall. On this one, again, we've got the same problem. We've got 5 is less than 10, and that turns true, but 5 is not equal to 10. Okay, and then just this final one here. I'm going to show you here, we've got a less than or a greater than. So I'm going to do a less than and a greater than. And again, 10 is not less than 5, but 5 is greater than 0. And you can see here, when we actually have a look at the expression, can you see A27 less than B27, which is wrong, even though it is true that 5 is greater than 10. Put it down, and there we go. You can see this one actually results in a true overall, which is really great because 5 is less than 10 and 10 is greater than 5. It's just the way that you use the cells. There we go. That's how simple it is to use an AND, and you can use as many as you want. As I said, if we really wanted to, we could expand this further along, add a new one in, and we could possibly even ask ourselves, is this one equal to this one? You can mix and match them as much as you want. And there we go, it still returns true because of the way that the equation works. And that's it. That is how we use AND.